Blog Talk Radio.
Batten down the hatches. It's Tuesday night, and we are in Cleveland, Ohio. Yours truly, Mark Mancini, producing this live from Los Angeles as we beam it back there. It's the American Sports History Podcast, hosted by a brother, a friend, a mentor, Peter Ray. 347-205-9631. It goes by quick. Catch the archive version on blogtalkradio.com/Mancini Sports, podcast platforms, wherever you subscribe to podcasts, powered now by Mancini Media. So without further ado, more of him, less than me. As I lay that red carpet down, put the podium in its place, hand off the mic. First of all, Peter, how are you? Second of all, how can people get a hold of you? And third of all, you are bringing a legend right back into Cleveland, Ohio with you.
Hi, Mark. I'm doing well. I have a YouTube history video channel. It's my name, Peter J. Ray, R-E-A, and you're absolutely right. For the second time, former NBA player from 1983 to 1997 for the Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks, and Seattle Supersonics. Welcome to the show for the second time, Mr. Craig Ehlo.
Hey, Peter. How's it going back there in Cleveland?
Oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine in Cleveland. It's in the 90s today. We started going through your career. My personal interest is your memories of teammates and coaches that I remember well, and we stopped last time with the 86-87 Cleveland Cavaliers, and so I'd like to hear your thoughts on starting with Hot Rod Williams.
Hot Rod Williams was just about the best person and father and a teammate that you could ever have. He was from Gonzales, Louisiana, I think population 10, and that was his whole family. And he had that Cajun dialect, and sometimes it was hard to understand him. But, man, if you had his loyalty, in which all of us did in Cleveland, he had our backs on everything, blocking shots, making shots, being in the right place at the right time.
Okay, John Bagley.
John Bagley was kind of he got caught in that change of guard in Cleveland by the Cavs drafting Mark Price or trading for Mark Price. He was the veteran of the team, but was kind of getting, put on the outs. We winded up trading him to New Jersey, and then Boston, I think, is where he wound up. But great guy, unbelievable player. He wasn't tall. He was a little chubby, but his basketball IQ was incredible.
Gary from Omaha, Nebraska. Hi, Peter and Craig. He says he loves this show each and every week. Best backcourt in basketball, Mark Price and Craig Ehlo.
That's insane. There's I think it's a NBA skybox card that has the two guards from different teams, and Mark and I were featured on one, and I get those in the mail still asking people if I would sign it for them, and a lot of times they'd already sent it to Mark, and he sent it back. So, Mark made me much better, and I probably brought him down, but we had a fun time because I came in the same year he was a rookie, so we worked out a lot in the summers, and we stayed in Cleveland. We played in a pro-am up at Cleveland State, and you know what? We go to Valley. I forgot the name of the park, but it was just right up from Timber Top Apartments, and play with a bunch of guys almost every night in the summer.
Taylor from Flint, Michigan. He asks, have you sent Michael Jordan a Christmas card on that shot he beat you guys with?
Nope, I will never send him a Christmas card. I told him it was a good shot, but no, I won't go that far as sending him a Christmas card. He took the wind out of our sails too many times, so it was a good competitive rivalry with him. And, I think because we played him so much, it's not a bad person to be associated with in the NBA history, though.
Continuing with your teammates, Phil Hubbard.
He, by far, was the most. I watched him play in the NCAA tournament as a kid, junior high and high school. I get to be his teammate, and he handled his transition from a starter to the bench guy that was right next to Coach Wilkins and Brian Winters and Coach Ham, and did not complain once about he was coming, kind of at the end of his career, but he was very, very supportive to everyone and just a great teammate, and did not complain about, just losing all the playing time, because he was a stud.
Dinner Bell Mel Turpin.
Tiptoe Mel. He was, I wasn't on the team very long with him. We traded him for, believe it or not, Kent Benson and Dale Curry. So I think we got the best end of that deal. Mel goes to Utah, and he didn't last very long. But you know what? For his size and his ability, his athletic ability was crazy, because he was always overweight, but he was very, very quick and a great post-up player. And, I got to say, he stole at Kentucky a lot of Sam Bowie's thunder. But, Mel, if he could have just had the right place and the right timing like he was in Kentucky, he probably would have had a longer career.
Joey from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Hey, Craig, those Sixers back then, let's see. The Sixers back then were tough. Any memories? World B. Free was something. Thought he was another version of Andrew Toney. Loved to shoot.
Oh, gosh. World B and I had the same agent, Ron Grinker. And, he was another guy that was just a guy that could really fill it up from just about anywhere. If he would have had the three-point line a lot longer in his career, it would have definitely added more years to him. But, he was just he was a hard guy to guard. I played against him and never with him. And you're right, Andrew Toney and him were very similar in the way that they were kind of assassins on the offensive end.
Rick from Augustine, Florida, maybe San Augustine, Florida. Any thoughts, Craig, on the NBA today? Hard to watch, no defense, and not a lot of guys caring.
It is tough, especially the season, 82 games. There's a lot of times where I can barely watch it. But I got to say, I thought my era of basketball, not the early part, the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, they were very, very good and moved the NBA forward. But the athletic ability, I thought we were insanely athletic and just did everything. But today's athlete, they train different, their nutrition's different. They have a lot more things that I didn't have in a sense of the weight room and gym time. Most teams have training facilities. So if you are in love with their athletic ability, they're fun to watch because they're so darn good and can break down anybody one-on-one, and that's 1 through 5 or, 1 through 8. So it is tough to watch, especially because my era played with, running sets and getting shots out of those. And today they just kind of create with that dribble drive and draw the defense and then find the open guy.
The 1987-1988 Cleveland Cavaliers, the father of this year's NBA Finals MVP, Del Curry.
He was sweet. He was perfect for our team. We had Ron Harper at the starting guard position. We got rid of Johnny Newman, that was a tough one to bite because he was so talented. And then I backed up Ron, and then Del kind of filled in by being the 2-man or the 3-man, but just a deadly, deadly soft touch shooter from deep. Now, Steph has more range than him, but Dell was just so smooth. And one of my favorite memories of all time was him and Brad Doherty. They knew each other from the Carolinas. I came to practice one morning, and if you remember where the old Richfield Coliseum was, there was a lot of wooded area back there. Roy Jones, the president of Richfield Coliseum, allowed them to hunt, and we had to walk, down that big ramp, the truck ramp, freezing cold, and then into a garage that had just like a little space heater in it. And they were in there gutting a big buck they had gotten the day, I guess, an hour or so before practice started. They had blood all over them, and they were just thrilled that they got a buck, and they were cleaning it right there in the garage that led to our locker room.
Hunting outside the Coliseum.
I know, it's crazy. Now, I saw cows, pasture and that kind of stuff before, but never thought that I'd see someone cleaning a buck.
Holly from Bellingham, Washington. Hi, Craig and Peter. Do you think the All-Star Game in the NBA should be represented by a player from every team? Personally, I think it would be great to have all the cities brought to the forefront wearing those crazy jerseys.
That was kind of unique. I don't know if it would ever pull it off where, taking one guy from each team, because there's just, too much of the fan part of it and the kids, and they know the superstars. And I think that weekend is kind of targeted at that. So I don't know if it would ever go over, but you know what? Crazy uniforms. I read once, Press Maravich said way back in the 50s and the probably late 40s that basketball was going to be colorful, and I think the NBA does a pretty good job of that.
Continuing with your teammates, Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson was incredible. He came in. He was going to back up Mark Price, basically, or they were going to trade Mark at one point. And Kevin Johnson and that training camp that we had when we drafted him, that was the most intense training camp I'd ever witnessed. And the competition between those two, KJ and Mark, just went at it every day in practice, all the exhibition games. Coach tried to play them together a couple of times, and it didn't work. There was no animosity. I think Kevin really admired Mark, and I think Mark did the same with Kevin, but he kind of got the low end of the stick being such a high draft pick because Mark kind of outplayed him, and lo and behold, we get Larry Nance in that trade we made with the Suns, and Mike Sanders and Larry Nance came to us. Kevin and Tyrone Corbin and Mark West went to the Suns and really helped both franchises.
Okay, Larry Nance.
I can't say enough. I mean, about that, the highest character guy I've ever been around. The integrity he has is incredible. He was the ultimate teammate and player. He did nothing wrong, not one bit of anything wrong. If practice was at 10 o'clock, he was there at 8 a.m. And he got a house in Bath and had like a 5-acre pond. Him being from South Carolina has fishing in his blood. So if any of us on the team were ever down or felt like we were not playing well, Larry always had us come by his house before practice, go out, throw the fishing line out, and talk about things. And that's, he wasn't that much of a leader on the floor other than the way he played by his example, but he just knew how to communicate with all of us to make us, get over a shooting slump or not worry about, being gone so much because the wife was complaining about the babies crying all night long. So just really, really high character person, and still have contact with him today.
Mike Sanders.
Mike came in with that trade with Larry. He kind of got thrown in. We didn't really have a small forward. We went through the draft with, I think, Chucky Brown and Randolph Keys trying to fill that spot. And Mike being, he played center at UCLA of all things at 6'6". So he could play at the post position or he could face up. He had kind of an awkward shot, but a tough defender and a really high IQ for basketball. And, we learned that even though it was a throw-in, we kind of got the good end there, too.
David from Louisville, Kentucky. Hey, Craig, how has the college game changed since you were in it? Seems like today's players aren't ready for the rigors of the NBA.
You got to remember these kids are 17 and 18 years old when they come as freshmen into the college. First time I remember my parents dropping me off, and I was at a junior college and only 150 miles away from home. But all of a sudden I had this freedom of no parent telling me what time to be home, and, just kind of you could do what I wanted. So when you look at college players today, you got to realize that they just haven't matured probably on the mental side as much as their bodies, and it's just there's a lot of freedom when you get to that campus, and if you're at a school and you're kind of the superstar, people see you on campus, so you kind of get this built up fake ego that a lot of guys have, and again, their talent, the kids that are coming in today, they play so much basketball. They have personal trainers. They're just incredible to watch. Yeah, the whole maturity thing is the one thing that holds them back. And I know the NBA went away from the high school guys coming out, and especially when you throw a contract at them that has millions of dollars. So you just got to take all that with a grain of salt and realize that, and probably when they get 21, 22, they'll mature and have a better understanding of what's going on. But, we as freshmen and sophomores, we see them in that immature state.
The 1988-1989 Cleveland Cavaliers, Tree Rollins.
Tree was a nemesis for us. He was on those good Atlanta Hawks teams with Dominique Wilkins, and he was the ultimate 7'1" guy that clogged the lane, blocked shots, knocked you on your tail if you came into the paint, and he knew he had 6 fouls to give, probably used those a lot. So I hated playing against him, and when he became my teammate in Cleveland, I loved having him on my side because he was one of those guys like Mark West that would say, if someone was guarding you too close, bring them by. I'll knock them off. And sure enough, he would do that. Now, his wife got a little pissed at him. We had a big, one of those old projector TVs in our locker room. And I think it was Tree's 6th child born. And he videoed it, and he let us watch it. She was not happy about that, but that's the kind of humor that Tree Rollins had, and he was a great asset when he came to the Cavs.
The 1990 Cavs, the coach of this year's NBA Finals champion, Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr, there's not a better teammate. I say that with all of them because they are. But we traded for Steve at the end of, I think, his rookie season. Cleveland, right away, got an apartment, found out that Mark and me and Larry were always working out on the mornings in the summer, and he didn't miss a day. And, you know what? They said he couldn't play point guard because he was too slow. They said he was couldn't handle the basketball. But just like he's defied everything because he has, 5 rings as a player and 4 as a coach now, that he could prove people wrong. And for 4 years we had him, and then we drafted Terrell Brandon, and we had actually Orlando wanted Steve, and it was his choice on the trade to go to Orlando. It didn't work out for him there, but he signs as a free agent with Chicago. Michael comes back, and the rest is history, because we're watching a guy that his probability of being in the Hall of Fame when I was with him in Cleveland was .00001, just like me. And now he'll probably go in both as a player and a coach.
Reggie Williams.
Felt sorry for Reggie. Again, he was a top player coming out of college in Georgetown. The Clippers drafted him. He was an East Coast guy. I don't think he was ready for that West Coast kind of style of living when he was with the Clippers. But when we traded for Danny Ferry and the Ron Harper trade, Reggie comes, and he kind of just felt like a misfit. All the talent in the world, really thin, skinny, could slice to the basket. He had a nice jumper. I think the pressure that we put on him, because we didn't get Danny right away, he was still in Europe playing. And so he came in, and everybody was wanting to see this superstar status. And I don't think, but yeah, he kind of just fizzled out in Cleveland, lost playing time, and kind of lost interest in the game.
The 1991 Cavs, Danny Ferry.
Danny came to us, heralded as one of the best college players ever from Duke, and very, again, high basketball IQ. Basketball had been in his blood. His dad played and then was in the NBA and in the administration part. So he came with everything that he was they building to have. Except we were just loaded there at that power forward with Larry Nance and Hot Rod Williams. So he was going to have to play small forward. And again, his size and quickness probably hurt him doing that. But again, great attitude, never complained, happy to be in Cleveland. And he was a really good teammate. After every practice, Mark Price and Danny Ferry played me and Steve Kerr in three-point shooting from like 5 different spots every practice. And I got to tell you, me and Steve won a lot of those. And because Danny probably wasn't as good as a deep shooter as we were, but because of us doing that every day, he got very good at shooting. And probably evened out at the end of our career. And then we also got him when we got our own private plane, and we played spades just like we did the three-point shooting, just about every road trip. So Danny and Mark played me and Steve in spades. So, yeah, he was a good teammate. He didn't live too far from me, so I told him he had to come pick me up and take me to the airport all the time.
Darnell Valentine.
Oh, Sweet D. Again, he was a player I watched when he was at Portland. He was on some pretty good teams there in Portland. And, those big thighs, unbelievable thunder thighs. And then when we got him, he backed up and Mark Price again, and he did a very good job of doing that. Mark got hurt, and he got moved into the starting position. And I got to say that he probably, if he was by himself in Cleveland, and he loved to work out, and he probably broke his body down a little too much. I think the game kind of just caught him and passed him by, but we definitely loved him as a teammate because his Kansas roots made him, another high basketball IQ guy.
The 1992 Cavs, Bobby Phills.
Bobby was incredible. He came to us. I think Milwaukee had drafted him and then let him go. His upside there was no cap on it. And he backed me up for 2 years, but I knew that if I ever let my guard down, this kid was going to take my job. And, he absolutely got the job when Coach Wilkins resigned, and I left as a free agent, and he blossomed. And just another high integrity kid. His dad, I believe, was the AD at Southern, that prestigious all-black school down in New Orleans. And I think if he would have not, what happened to him was just horrible in the car wreck. I think it was David, who was it, Wesley, that was his teammate in Charlotte that, took Bobby's life. But that kid he had superstar written all over him, and he was fine with backing me up and not getting a lot of playing time, a lot of, cleanup minutes. And he was just waiting for the time to come for him to be a starter. And, yeah, he was going to be a superstar in the league if he wouldn't have had that car wreck.
The 1993 Cavs, Gerald Wilkins.
The Jordan stopper. So we had all those years of me and Ron and all the other guys trying to stop Michael Jordan, and we really didn't have any luck. And the self-proclaimed Jordan stopper, because the Knicks were always next in line after the Bulls always knocked us off, and Gerald had to face him just as many times as I did, and we didn't know if we could coincide together, and we actually winded up playing a lot on the floor at the same time because he could guard a small forward just like I could. And, he kind of came with an ego. He was Dominique's brother and kind of little brother that was overshadowed by him, but really hard worker on the floor. And the bottom line for him was just to win basketball games. So the last game I played with the Cavs was the game that Michael made a shot in the conference finals. And lo and behold, I was on Pippen this time, and Gerald was on Michael when they beat us 4-2 in that conference finals.
Well, the time has flown by. Our guest has been Mr. Craig Ehlo, who played in the NBA from 1983 to 1997 with the Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks, and Seattle Supersonics. Craig will always be beloved in Cleveland, and all the guys who played on those Cavs teams from 1986 to 1993 when Cavs were strong contenders. Wonderful. Craig, Mr. Ehlo, do you have any final words for our audience tonight?
Oh, no, I just keep listening to Peter Ray's show because you got people like Peter that in Cleveland that they love their sports, they love their teams, they love the history of the teams, and you do such a great job bringing that. And, yes, I cannot believe we went through 30 minutes again already because I could talk this all for probably 2-3 hours with you. With your knowledge of everybody in Cleveland, and I just really appreciate you having me on. Did we get it?